Hey, my name's Canyon Prince. Welcome to day 20 of the Human Reboot Experiment. I just wanted to talk real quick because, a lot of people have been boycotting OpenAI and ChatGPT based on the deal that they've made with the government. So I just wanted to talk about a couple alternatives if you are one of those people who want to jump off of the ChatGPT bandwagon. Up until this point, Chat GPT has kind of been like, I feel like, the catch-all phrase of AI assistance. Even if somebody has been using something other than Chat GPT, it's kind of like fallen into our vernacular of, oh, I asked Chat GPT this or that. But there's actually, a few different LLMs, which that stands for large language models. And so I just wanted to go over a couple alternatives to ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI. So the first one that we'll cover is Google's Gemini. So this is Google's large language model. This is the one that I use probably the most, because a lot of my business and my personal space is incorporated into the Google machine. So things like Gmail and Google Calendar, Google Drives, Google Meets, all that kind of stuff. So Google Gemini is really good for that reason because it, can access all of that stuff if you need it to and if you set it up to. It also, Google is the makers of Nano Banana, which is arguably one of the best image generators. So, if you use Google Gemini, then Nano Banana is built right into the chat window, and they have different tiers, from free to pro to the Google AI Ultra, which is the most expensive. That I think is like $250 a month. But not only does it, have a lot of generations available for Nano Banana, but it also has a lot of generations available for VEO, or VO, which is their video generator, which is also a really good one. It's not Seed Dance, but as we saw last week, Seed Dance is, not coming out anytime soon, based on Hollywood's pushback on them. So who knows if and when Sea Dance will release here in the States. So until then, Cling 3 or VEO is a good one. So Google is great if you want all of that. Also, I think Google has a better um, access to up-to-date information on the web because it is Google and it runs off Google search engine and all of that. So that's one. Number two is Perplexity. And Perplexity, I did a video a couple weeks ago. Perplexity also made a web browser called Comet that you can give AI permission to take over your web browser and do things that you would actually be physically doing in your web browser. So Perplexity is great as well. Perplexity is also really good for deep research online. So the automation that I've been working on to build with OpenClaw, it's using Perplexity for all of its daily research to pull news articles and things like that to give me ideas for videos to do. So Perplexity is good. Another thing too, if you are a PayPal user, which I feel like at this point most of us are, even if it's an account we haven't used forever, PayPal is partnering with Perplexity and giving everybody 1 year free. So I'll include the link to get that. But basically, you sign up, link your PayPal account to it, and then you'll get a year of Perplexity of like their whatever the level right above their free level is. You'll get that for free for a year. So Perplexity is great. And then the third option alternative to ChatGPT is Claude, and Claude has been, making a lot of hype. There's Claude Code, which a lot of people have been using for vibe coding and stuff like that. And then Claude just came out with something called Claude Cowork, which is essentially their first kind of packaged version of OpenClaw. So Claude has taken OpenClaw, which is open source, and wrapped it inside of their Claude brand, and made it a bit more user friendly for consumers who don't have any coding skills or anything like that. So in the Claude infrastructure, they're the first ones to hop on the OpenClaw bandwagon. So I think Claude is probably, it seems to be like the most, the company that's able to shift and pivot the quickest out of all these, Google being like the biggest space. I think, probably can shift gears a lot slower than a company like these AI companies like Claude and Perplexity and even OpenAI. So those are, the main three alternatives that I would suggest looking into. They all have app versions, web versions, desktop versions. You can check them all out. There's others like Grok and Manus and things like that, and maybe, we'll look into these at some point. But I think right now, if you're deciding you don't want to use ChatGPT and OpenAI because of, the whole thing with the government, then I would check out, either Google Gemini, Perplexity, or Claude. So that's it for today, day 20. As always, thanks for the likes, the follows, the shares. If you want to see anything, if you're interested in anything, let me know. Let me know what LLMs you are using out of these. If you are a ChatGPT hardcore, or if you're jumping ship and switching to something else. And I will see you back here tomorrow for day 21 of the human reboot experiment. Thanks a lot.